So this is how to build a 36 spoke BMX wheel. It is very simple, it's not difficult. I learned how to do this by myself just watching YouTube videos, and if that's you, then welcome. So all you need is your rim, obviously. You're going to need your hub. Here we've got our spokes. We've got our spoke nipples. Don't run away. You're going to need a spoke wrench. This is very simple to get. It's quite cheap as well. You can get it online or just at a bike shop. It's a very, very common tool. And then the last thing that you're going to need is you will need a screwdriver. This is going to come in handy when you need to screw in the spoke nipples like this into the rim later on. I'll show you how to use this. Please ignore the state of my hands. I know that they are filthy. I was servicing this hub 5 minutes ago before I rebuilt it, and I didn't feel like washing my hands because I'm still going to be working with it anyway. So first thing you're going to do, pick a random spoke, doesn't matter. Pick a side of your hub. You can choose any side, it doesn't matter again. Take your spoke, just drop it straight down into any one of the holes, like that. So now you've got your spoke going there. And now you're going to take the rest of them and skip a hole. So you should have 9 spokes on each side of the hub with a hole in between each spoke. So here you can see you've got the one spoke and there is the other spoke. I wish it would focus, but it doesn't want to cooperate with me. And there is the hole in between. This hub is definitely well used. I've built it up a bunch of times so you can see that the spoke holes are a little roughed up. But that's what you do, and you just repeat the process around the entire hub, just one by one until you have all 9 spokes hanging down. Here we can see our hub. We've got all 9 of the spokes inside the hub, just hanging down like that. And if you're wondering what this little thing is, that's a hub duster. It's just a piece of Velcro I put on there to keep the hubs clean. Because if you've ever tried cleaning hubs, it's ridiculously difficult to get a cloth in there or something between the spokes to clean it. So this helps. It just dusts off your hubs while you're riding. Very simple, and it works. So once you're done with your hub, the next step is take your rim and you need to find the valve hole on your rim and pick the spoke to the left of it, up at the top. Here we got our rim. We found the valve hole right there, and you're going to pick this hole right next to it. That is the one you're going to want to start with, and it is very simple. All you need to do is just take your hub, just pick a random spoke that you got hanging off of it, and just push it straight through the valve hole like that. Once you've done that, take a spoke nipple. Let me just set this down. I'm doing this with one hand, so it's a little tricky. But take a spoke nipple, get your spoke, and basically just thread the spoke nipple on there. Boom, just like that. Just enough that it engages. You don't want to push it all the way down because it'll make it difficult to move the hub around a little bit later when you're trying to tighten everything up and all that. So just put it on enough that it catches the threads and that it's not going anywhere. And then you're good. You're done with that. Take another spoke down here, just the one afterwards, and you're going to skip 3 of the holes on the rim. So 1, 2, 3, 4. You're going to put the spoke in the 4th hole. So as you can see, you got 1 hole over there in between the 2 spokes, and 3 spoke holes in between the 2 spokes up on the rim. That's just the valve hole, the big one. That guy. But yeah. That's what you're going to do, and then just repeat this around the entire rim with the rest of your spokes on your hub. And then I'll get back to the next step afterwards. Now once you've gone around your whole wheel and it's looking something like this, with 3 spoke holes in between each of the spokes, you get to the next step. Next step is a little bit tricky. You have to pay attention. So, pick a spoke. Pick a random spoke. And if you look straight down at your hub, you will notice that the holes on this side of the hub are slightly offset from the holes on this side. So if you can see there, the holes on this side of the hub are a little bit offset from the holes on that side of the hub. So if you look straight down at it, sorry, the light's just giving me a bit of trouble. If you look straight down at it, you can see that this spoke over here runs directly between these two spoke holes right there. What you need to do now is, again, just take a spoke and you're going to drop your spoke into the hole to the right of that spoke. So just straight down like that, and then pick it up. I wish it would cooperate, thank you. Pick it up, you can see it's right down there, hole on the right, and now you need to put it in the hole on the right up on the rim. So just straight in like that. Hole on the right on the hub flange, hole on the right on the rim. That's simple. Now you do the same thing as before, just grab a spoke nipple, tighten it down on here. Same as before, just a little bit, don't tighten it down all the way, just enough for the threads to catch. And then you're going to just repeat the process around the whole rim, same way we did before, just leave a hole between each spoke, just like that. A hole on the rim to the right of every spoke that's already there. So then it would be this one, this one, this one, so on and so forth. You get the idea. Once you're done with that, you can see the wheel is now starting to look a little bit like a wheel. So if you made it this far and you've done all the steps correctly, you can give yourself a round of applause. Now, what you need to do for the next step, pick your wheel straight up. Hold it like this, grab your hub and twist it to the right. So basically everything is to the right when you're building a wheel, because you're putting your second spoke set to the right on the rim, to the right on the flange, and then you've got to twist the hub to the right. So it's always to the right. Twist it almost as hard as you can. Like, twist it and make sure that you get all of the spoke nipples through the holes, that there aren't any that are catching on the inside of the rim, and make sure that everything lines up nicely. You can see, just grab your hub, twist it to the right, make sure that all of your spokes are sticking out nice and clean, that there aren't any stragglers, like you can see that one is struggling to come out. Just make sure, and also here, the spokes might not want to cooperate with you, so you kind of have to jiggle them around a little bit, there you go, till they come out. And also, a very important thing to notice is when you're twisting your hub to the right, make sure that this spoke next to the valve hole is straight, not leaning over the valve, because that's going to make it very difficult to get a pump head in there when you want to pump up your wheel. So you can see if I turn the wheel around and now I twist it to the right on this side, you can see it's cutting directly across the valve head line. And so if that happens and it's cutting diagonally, it means that your wheel is the wrong way around. You just got to flip it over and then twist it to the right again, just like so. Make sure your spokes are all poking out. Make sure that everything lines up neatly, and you should be good to go. For the next step, where we previously would have just dropped the spoke straight down into the hub flange, now what you're going to do is you're going to actually be pushing them up. This is tricky. So there you go. You're going to be pushing them straight up like that, and pull your spoke over and make sure that you turn it the opposite direction that you just turned your hub. So if you just twisted, well, actually it's the same direction, it's right again. If you just twisted your hub right, you need to pull your spoke right as well. So you need to make sure that it crosses 3 spokes. This type of wheel is called a 3-cross BMX wheel. It is basically what all BMX wheels come in, unless you deliberately build it in a different way. But it needs to cross 3 spokes. So first it's going to cross this one, then it's going to cross this guy over here and come all the way around and cross this guy. But on the 3rd spoke, so 1, 2, and 3 over here, you need to actually put the spoke underneath like that. So you can see there, it's underneath the third spoke. Put it underneath the third spoke, not just straight over. This is going to add a huge amount of strength to your wheel, and it makes a lot of difference. As you can see, the formula for this is over, over, under. So over this spoke, over the spoke, and under this one. And now you're not going to put the spoke into the hole straight afterwards. You actually skip that hole and put it into the next one. So right there, it's going to go in there. So there you go. 3 cross BMX wheel. It crosses 3 spokes. 1, 2, and 3. Over, over, under. Over there. So that's what you're going to do. Repeat that process around the whole rim. Remember, push your spokes up. You're not going to drop them down anymore. Push the spokes up. Repeat the process around the entire rim, and I'll get back to you from there. This is also the part where it comes in useful to have your screwdriver, because it gets tricky to put the spokes in the holes and get the nipple through, because now everything is starting to tighten up. So it really helps to be able to have a screwdriver so you can just push the nipples down into the rim and tighten them like so. So now that we're done with that, all we gotta do is just turn the wheel over and repeat the exact same process that we just did on the other side. And this side is going to be much easier because there are only 9 available spoke holes, both on the hub and on the rim, and you're only going to have 9 spokes left. So it's going to be very clear exactly where each spoke should go. Yeah, you can see our rim is looking really nice. It's looking very much like a BMX wheel, and you can see that we hit the nail perfectly on the head with the valve hole here. These are both nice and straight, so there will be plenty of room to put a pump head on there for any time that I need to pump up my wheel. Now, same procedure that we did last time. Take a spoke, stick it straight up through there, and then grab it with your camera hand. There we go. Stick it straight up through there, and do the exact same thing. So, across this guy, and across this guy, but don't forget, we're going over, over, under. So, it needs to go under the third spoke, and then it'll be very, very clear exactly where the spoke is supposed to go. I mean, look at that. It can't possibly go anywhere else. So there's the hole that you got to go into, and boom. Complete that process around the whole wheel, and your wheel is basically done. All we got to do afterwards is just tension everything. And now your wheel is officially done. So you can see everything lines up. It looks exactly how a bicycle wheel should look like. Now the last thing that we need to do is we need to tension it. So that is where the spoke wrench comes in handy. Just find, if you have a spoke wrench like mine, it'll have lots of different sizes. Just find the size that fits your spokes. And what you're going to do is start at the valve hole. So I don't know if you can see, but it's down here. Start at the valve hole and go around the entire rim with the spoke wrench. First, tighten down all of the spokes as far as you can get by hand and make sure that everything is lined up nicely. And then start at the valve hole and go around the whole rim with the spoke wrench. And I normally do a full turn at first on each spoke, and then I will transition to a half turn and then a quarter turn once they start getting tighter. And that just means that your wheel gets really dialed in. The more time you put into this process, the more dialed your wheel is going to be. So I'll check back in with you guys once I've done that, and yeah, talk to you then. So now it is the next day, and I did the wheel overnight. You can see I've already put all my hardware on, like my hub guards, bolts, and this peg. I'm getting another peg soon. My previous one broke, that's why I run 3 pegs at the moment. But yeah, so you can see the wheel is now nice and tight. Everything is tensioned up, and it came out very, very nice. I didn't even have to true it at all. I didn't have to straighten it, nothing like that. it just came out perfect. I'm so happy with it. I'm about to put it on my bike and I'm about to go ride. So yeah, hopefully you got some insight out of this video. Hopefully this helped you build your first wheel. It is a bit of a tricky process. If you don't get it right the first time, then you can just undo everything, pull out all the spokes, and just try again, because it's not that difficult. Takes a bit of practice just to get the rhythm going, but it's not that difficult. If you put time into it and you're not impatient, you will get a really dialed wheel at the end. So yeah, hopefully this helped. Let me know in the comments if it did, and let me know what tutorial videos you guys want me to make next. If you want me to make a video on how to straighten your wheel, just in case, like you built the wheel but it came out a little bit skew or something like that, let me know. I can do that. I'm very good with straightening wheels. And yeah, anything else you want to know, shoot me a comment. I read all my comments. So yeah, hope you guys have a good day and thank you for watching. Peace.
Mook got the keys, jungle.